Welcome, everybody, to the Bold Authors Network. And here we are in the middle of March already. We are honored today to have a guest speaker, Yvonne DiVita, with us. And she has this phenomenal presentation about how to market like a rock star. I saw it this past week, and I'm so excited for her to share it with all of you. But I want to just share with you a few things that have been not necessarily on my mind, but just musings, if you will. We'll call them March musings. And if you would give me a thumbs up, Sue, if you can see my screen, thank you. So, the first thing that I wanted to share with you that I worked on this past week is a roadmap for the Bold Authors Network. And I do a lot of roadmaps. I've done tons of roadmaps for other coaches, for other consultants, for lots of clients. And for me, because I'm very visual, they organize things into a flow that I know at any time where I am, either in the program, as far as my own development, with the client, with where they are in the program, where they are in their journey. And so I wanted to share this with you as an idea of something that you might want to do in your own authorpreneur's journey. So we've already talked a lot about vision, voice, and visibility as foundational pieces in becoming a successful author, authorpreneur, an entrepreneur with books, whatever view and perspective you have of yourself. And so, as I build out the Bold Leaders Network, I wanted for you guys to also have that vision of what's possible. And so, we have vision, which is, what do we see coming for us in our future for our success? Our voice is our physical voice, and then also our symbolic voice, the message that we bring to our audience. Visibility is to be seen everywhere, all the time, all at once, which is exhausting. However, that's not the total goal, that is the accumulative goal. And then we have in the Bold Authors Network, we have the unlimited laser coaching, which is how you can begin to take these foundational things and move forward, customized specifically to your concerns, your issues as we're working together. The Bold Authors Playbook is next. I'm just about finished with the actual book, which will also be a course and a coaching program as well. And then the final thing in the journey, this is not the destination, but the final milestone in the journey is beyond the book, which is when you get to that place where your book takes on a much, much bigger life and you're on bigger stages, solving bigger problems for larger clients at much higher prices. And so this is the journey that I envision for Bold Authors Network. And I'm happy that you are on this journey with me. Now let's move into March musings and spring cleaning. Somehow March always brings about spring cleaning. And even though I'm in Florida and we don't really have spring here, it just feels like I need to do some spring cleaning. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about my vision and what I really, what hit home with me this past week. I'm not sure what happened this last week. Maybe we were in that vortex of the planet parade or something, celestial going on, but I did some really, really deep thinking last week. And one of the things that I thought about is what my vision is. I've shared with you my vision in terms of fiction, and that was the commitment to write about forgiveness and redemption, to give that message to the world through my fiction. But I also have really insight to a broader vision. And part of that is helping authors in the bookish world. You saw the roadmap that I have. That's a very strong vision for me. But what I realized last week is that I have a very tangible vision that is perhaps supersedes all of that, if you will. And that is with my grandchildren. Um, my granddaughter started emailing me every morning. And this is a new thing that started last week. And it has filled me with so much joy to be in contact with her every day because she lives 10 hours away from me. And I realized that part of my very tangible vision, I have three grandchildren, is to give my grandchildren every opportunity that I can. And this is not only about my time, but it's also about helping with college, helping with other things. My son is in the military, he's in the Air Force, so they are a military family. And so they have some need for resources that other families don't have. And that really got really very clear to me last week that that is part of my vision is that I'm not just working to work, although I love my work, but I'm working because I want my grandkids to have that opportunity. And I think that's probably true for a lot of you as well. So, with that vision in mind, I was like, okay, spring cleaning, time to clean out all the digital dust. Well, what I discovered was my digital dust is actually digital hoarding. I don't know if you guys do this or not, but I realized how bad I am at hoarding digital things. So I'll give you an example. Something will come into my email. It's somebody's lead magnet and it's a freebie. And I'm like, I just can't let it go. I have to get it and I have to stash it away somewhere. Well, when I stash it away somewhere, I'll never find it again. I'm not going to find it, because I'm just hoarding things. And so I decided I really have to get this digital hoarding under control. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be downloading any lead magnets or reader magnets because I do love them. But I did find a system to follow. And so now I have a place where I put all of them because I was putting them in different places. Now I have one file, one folder where I'm putting all of them. And that's a place I can go to for ideas, to refresh my thinking, if I'm looking for something for emails, etc. And so, along with that digital hoarding, I realized what I needed to do was to really reframe my mindset. Because what was happening was I was looking at everything as though, oh my gosh, this is like the latest, greatest, best thing. It's so interesting. I have to have it. And now I have to start thinking to myself, is it interesting or is it distracting? And if it's a distraction, let it go. So that's my new label. Is that distracting? Okay, let it go. Now, this is March musing, so I'm going to move to a completely different subject. The next thing is the fresh start effect. This really struck me when I was reading a book the other night about this idea that when we write in specifically in our sales copy, is to use this effect called the fresh start, which is to identify the transitional moments that your buyer is in and use those transitional moments as a reason, a motivation to act, to call that out. So we know that what happens in our world is that people try to create urgency, right? To get you to act, to get you to move. There's only one of this thing left. Well, if it's digital, there are a million of it left, right? There's only one more day for you to get it. Well, that's never true because the deadline always gets extended. But if you can find the transitional moments that your buyers are in and use those as the reason to act, then we have what we call the fresh start effect. It's why January is such a great month for personal development work, books, courses, etc. And I think selling mattresses too for some reason. I'm not sure. And also dry January as well. So fresh start is a thing. So that really caught my attention and I wanted to share that with you. The next two things are things that I kind of snapped my head around. So I got this email about a generator. And I'm thinking, okay, what's a generator? It has to be an AI something. If you know what a generator is, put it in the chat because I am really curious if other people know about this. Um, a generator, as it turns out, is a prompt. And so I got this email about buying this prompt, but the price was pay whatever you want. Now, I have noticed, and I'm curious also, has anyone else noticed this happening, that there are more pay as you want, pay as much as you want opportunities? That people are, I don't know if they're defaulting to them. I'm not sure what the psychology is. It's really big, and I have seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. So I got this email about a generator, and I went to the sales page. It was pay as you want, pay whatever you want. But what I thought was interesting, the more I read down the sales page, the harder the sell was to not go to zero, but to pay something like guilt trip, guilt trip, guilt trip. And I thought, what is the point of this? Why not just ask for $10 if that's what you want? Just put a price on it so we know what the value is. And so that's what I paid. I paid $10. When I got the generator, I discovered that the generator was a prompt. And it was literally about 8 paragraphs of a prompt for ChatGPT. So I'm just saying to you guys, just so you know what a generator is, in case you want to buy it, pay whatever you want. You might want to just go zero. But just know that this is like a trend. This is happening out there right now. Okay, the next thing, visibility. So last week when I was going through all of this vortex of the energy that was hitting my brain, I came across some of the things that I've done in the past 6 months to a year. And I was like, this is really interesting. And so I put together a highlights reel for when I hit the valley of despair. And I wanted to share that with you. Now, I couldn't get everything in, but I just wanted to let you see what my visibility has looked like in the past 6+ or so months. The Maryland Association of Writers, A Book Finds You, is their podcast. It was the first podcast I was on in November, I think, early December. And since then, I've been on all of these podcasts. And Jeannie, I could not find a logo for you guys. I was on Jeannie's podcast.
I'll send you one so you can put it in if you want.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Jeannie's podcast was great. I won some awards, and as a result of winning the Book Fest award, the cover of my book was on the Jumbotron in Times Square, which was really exciting. I was on Lana's podcast. That was really great. I was on ABC Channel 27 for their author spotlight, and I'll be going back now that the series is finished. Last Saturday, just the other day, I did the Voices of Women Summit, which was fantastic with Kimberly Crow, who also does the Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel Summit, which I did a couple of years ago and is coming up in March. If anyone is interested in some speaking opportunities and summits, Kimberly Crow has a weekly meeting that she does called Speakers Playhouse. I will put that in the show notes that I send out in the email tomorrow. She is a high energy person who will get you on a lot of stages and is a really great way to obviously to get visibility. I was on Calvin's podcast. That was great. Les Deck, who you guys may not know, he's a consultant who was a Vistage chair that I did work with. Culture Crack, two women, one from New York, one from Sweden, who are friends and authors. And I was a little nervous actually going on their podcast because I had no idea what it was going to be about. I mean, I knew it was about culture and I knew it was about creators, being a creator, but I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about films or books, and we ended up talking about all of it, and it was absolutely wonderful. Perhaps the thing that I'm most that makes me very, very happy is in the center, which is that when the book launched Saturday night at the Trailer Park in Kindle Unlimited, it came in the first place, top ranking. And that was just with 22 reviews. So I was very, very happy with that. So all of which is to say, not to boost my ego, but these are the kinds of things that go on your website, on your landing pages, at the end of your presentations, in your lead magnet. And when you're having a really bad day, pull it out and look at it and say, well, hot damn, I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad at all. Now, for the big show for today, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm also going to put a recording.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right. So let's talk about how to market your book like a rock star. And first of all, a little bit about me. Yvonne DiVita, I am no relation to Danny DeVito. And yes, people do ask me that. And I find it quite humorous. I'm the co-author of the How to Write a Book book. I'm the author of the book Dickless Marketing, Smart Marketing to Women Online, which was published in 2005 and got a whole boatload of interest from a lot of media at the time, and none of them would say the title out loud themselves. They made me say the title. And I'm writing my new book, will be Bleeding on the Page, How to Add the Magic of Fiction and Story to Your Nonfiction Book. So very quickly, I wrote my first novel in 7th grade. And so I've been a writer since early grade school, but that was really the first time I shared it with people and got feedback about, oh, this is great. You're going to be a writer someday when you grow up. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. I'm going to be a writer. And I grew up and published Dickless Marketing and had a bad experience and started my own print-on-demand publishing company. And that was in 2006 when very few people even knew what print-on-demand was. Fast forward, working with a couple dozen authors at that particular print-on-demand company, I then co-founded with my daughter and my husband and another blogger something called Blog Pause, the pet blogging community. And while I was running Blog Pause, we had yearly national conferences. They were very big and very well attended. I was awarded Woman of the Year in 2015. So that's a really, really, it's something that I'm really, really proud of. You can connect with me on all these places. I'm primarily on LinkedIn. Now, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift. because Taylor Swift is a brand. Her albums and her tours are the products that she sells. And I want you to get your head around that, because you are the brand and your books are the products that you sell. It's not about book sales, it's about forming relationships, which is what Taylor does so well. Now, when you think about this in the world of fiction, as opposed to the world of being a rock star, I want you to think maybe of Stephen King. Stephen King is very good at this. And Brandon Sanderson, who is someone we're going to mention later, he's a sci-fi writer. He is outstanding at doing this. In nonfiction, if you're writing nonfiction, it would be James Cleary, maybe Brené Brown. And these are authors who have put the books as part of their brand. It's never just about the books themselves. So I'm going to tell you something just straight up, that nobody cares about your book. Nobody cares that you wrote a book. Your book is going to sit in Amazon purgatory unless you make people care. You have to take charge of understanding who your audience is and how you can serve them. It's not about them serving you, it's about you serving them. And don't think that someone else can do this for you. You can hire people to do some of it. You can hire people where you're helping them do it, but this is your job. I know you just want to write. You just want to sit around and you write. You don't want to have to do all this stuff, but you cannot build a relationship if someone else is answering all the comments on your social media. So you could have the best cover in the world, you could have the best book description on Amazon, but without the right marketing and promoting, nothing's going to happen. Your book will be invisible. Think about Taylor and what she does and how she's done it over the many years now. She writes to her fans' inner desires. She is one of them. She doesn't merely know how they feel. She has been in their shoes, and she certainly makes them feel that way. That's why they would jump off a cliff for her. So I thought it was interesting when I was preparing this presentation that Taylor in 2012 was on an interview and called her Swifties adorable. I don't know that we want our fan members to call us adorable, but maybe we do. But I thought it was really interesting. She's also filed for a trademark for the name Swifties, and in 2023, the Oxford Dictionary added Swiftie to its pages, defining Swifties as an enthusiastic fan of the singer Taylor Swift. Now, in and of themselves, the Swifties have become a subculture and a near metaverse. There are academics in colleges that are studying the Swifties and Taylor for the consumerism, the content creation, the social capital, and the collective effervescence, among many other things that are happening in the Swiftie universe. So these are not just girls or women or men or boys who buy her albums. These are people who feel connected to her. And Swift's habit of lurking her fans on social media has been referred to as Taylurking. And that was invented again by her fans. And guess what? I would not be surprised if it makes it into the dictionary in the next year or two. And the part of TikTok dominated by Swifties is known as Swift Talk. So SWIFTTOK. And a 2024 qualitative study of Swifties credited Swift's constant self-disclosure and authentic persona on social media for the Swifties' exceptional relationship with Swift. And I'm going to read that again because that is very important. Swift's constant self-disclosure and authentic persona on social media. That is what you want to achieve. So what would Taylor Swift do? First thing she does is love on her fan club, right? We want you to learn how to make that happen for your book, for you. And one of the things Taylor Swift doesn't do is she doesn't rely on chance. She is out there preparing well ahead of time for each album, each concert, and each connection to her Swifties, right? So that is the point here. That is the message, is that she's not just preparing her music or her tour or her album. She's preparing about how she's going to respond to her Swifties. Now, I like to follow the advice from aviator Eleanor Smith. This is a little separate from Taylor, but it works very well with what we're doing here. Eleanor Smith achieved getting her aviator's license in 1942 at the age of 16. So she was the youngest person, not just the youngest woman, the youngest person to get her aviator's license. And over time, she became a speaker. And she says, "It has long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." And there's no doubt that Taylor Swift is out there happening to things, to us and her Swifties. So how can you do this? You want to learn what people like or want regarding your books, regarding you, by asking. Just ask. Don't be afraid to put it out there. Ask them about the plot. Ask them what you should name the characters. Ask them what the antagonist should do next, or what intriguing characteristics the protagonist should have. Get them involved. Be on social media and other places they hang out and respond to their comments. So think of it as guerrilla marketing. Now, Kay knows all about guerrilla marketing, and she can probably have a whole session on guerrilla marketing sometime. But let's say this. Let's say your book is due to be released in a month. What if you printed 100 postcards that you strategically leave in coffee shops, libraries, gift shops, and other places that your readers visit? You could offer a prize if they pre-order your book. You want to make it easy for them, and you want to be in unexpected places. The power, by the way, of a fan club, Taylor Swift's or anybody else's, is in the power of shared identity. This could be the book club you love being part of, or the group of writers you connect with on Reddit. It's the ladies you go to the library with every Tuesday. Whatever it is, you have a group. And your goal for your book is to discover the readers who could become part of that group and start a fan club for you. In Taylor Swift's case, this shared identity fosters a deep sense of belonging and unity. These are people who not only collect her song lyrics, but they support each other outside of supporting Taylor Swift. They want to connect with each other. So you want to learn to identify what that is for your books and your involvement. And I'll tell you, if you can do that, it will bring you more value than any press release or Amazon ad. Now, what would Taylor Swift do? She would invite fans to her home. She did. She called them secret sessions. She invited a group of fans to her home to listen to her album before it came out. How did they get invited? Here's how she did it. This is something where you can't buy a ticket. There's no real way to try and figure out how to get in, other than maybe you made a video that made me laugh. So I screenshotted it and sent it to Taylor Nation. Or maybe you did something really grassroots marketing with Post-it notes. I don't know. Maybe you were just fiercely defensive of me on Twitter. And that's how people got invited. You can search out and find local readers who like the genre of writing you do, maybe even people who have read your work, and arrange a meet and greet. Use a library, use a coffee shop. I know you're introverted. We all are. None of us want to go anywhere and see anybody. I don't want to go anywhere and see anybody. People ask me, so what don't people know about you? And I say, well, they don't know that I would never leave my house if I didn't have to. But you have to. You have to make this effort. You have to find at least one way you can connect outside of the internet with people, and do it until you're comfortable, and then find another way and do that. Now, when you're doing this, don't forget to film it for your social channels. I want you to bring lots of books and be prepared to give away book packages. And what that means, we'll discuss in a couple minutes. The goal is to connect with your audience. This is like Taylor Swift's concerts. She doesn't just sing. She pauses and talks to people in the audience. She brings people up on stage. She calls some fans by name because she knows them. She has taken the time to get to know their name and who they are. And this inspires all the other fans to love her more, because they could be the next one invited on stage at the next concert. When you recognize fans by name, you create loyalty, and they will jump off a cliff for you, maybe. So what would Taylor Swift do? She makes videos. How many of you are making videos? Put a little note in the chat if you're really good at making videos. You love making videos. You're making a lot of videos. I'm not seeing a lot of hands go up. There you go. There you go. Done a few, but they were successful. Excellent. Yes, do more. 63% of Book Talk users feel seen when authors use their handles in a video or a comment. So this is about getting to know your connections on social. It's about being vulnerable. When Taylor Swift joined Tumblr, she reached out to her fans and said, I'm clueless here, help me out. I want you to go further. Share like a day in the life video. 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 or 2 minutes. Show your office. I don't care how messy it is. We want to see. We want to see how you work. Show your backyard. Take us on a walk with your dog. Talk about your research or a recent interview you were on. Be approachable. Ask questions. Hey, anyone here from Seattle? Anyone prefer reading late at night like me? Anyone ever wish they were a superhero? This is the power of shared experiences. It's a feeling of being part of something larger than yourself. And it's through these moments of shared rituals or community activities that the Swifties begin to be so powerful for Taylor. She does fan birthday shout outs, and she's famous for her video messages to cancer patients. Now, videos are more compelling than mere words. Get comfortable with video. If you thank a fan in a video, as I said, by name or handle, they're just falling all over themselves now that you saw them. You recognize them. Make a video for people you've identified as fans and offer clues, hints, or puzzles for them to solve. And give them prizes. Now, prizes can be a $5 Starbucks card. It can be a free book. It can be about just about anything. It doesn't have to be expensive. This inspires people to follow you and engage and share, share, share. This is what it's about. Share, share, share. What if you saw a fan that you recognize on a regular basis having a bad day? Why not DM them and tell them that you're sorry they're having a bad day? Maybe be brave. Ask for their address so you can send them something. And send them something not related to the book. Send them candy or flowers or even just a postcard. But send them something that shows you're thinking of them. And this is the kind of attention your readers crave. And it's how Taylor turned her Swifties into a mega group of fans who follow her everywhere. So the link in the slide, BookBub, I want you to visit that link because you're going to learn more ways that authors use videos to engage with readers If you want to, you can just search Google for ways authors use videos to engage with readers. You will get even more than just the BookBub link. What would Taylor Swift do? She creates swag. Now, we all know what swag is, right? Swag is stuff you give away. So what about you? Could your book look good on a t-shirt? Could a quote from your book look good on a t-shirt? What about a mug? What about bookmarks? Now, Kay is really great. She produces bookmarks and she puts QR codes. And the QR codes go to Amazon so people can write reviews. Again, you're making it easy for me, right? That's what you want to do. We recently got a package from an organization we joined, and it had a bunch of really great stuff in it. And one of them was a door hanging that said, "Writer at work, step away." And I have put that on the handle of my office. And I am quite confident when the grandchildren visit that they will just ignore it. But you can also create notebooks, character art, or postcards, coasters, collectible trading cards, socks, magnets, candles, coloring books. It's endless of what you can create. Taylor created the book for her Eras tour, right? We all know that she had a book. And it was published, I don't know if you know this, by her own publishing company. It sold 814,000 copies in its launch week through Target. It was not in Amazon, and it was not in bookstores. She selected the place she knew her fans were likely to shop and put her book there. She couldn't put it anywhere. And it's not that Target won. It's not that all the other places like Walmart and Amazon and bookstores were up for grabs. They weren't. Taylor chose Target as the place she wanted to see her book. So go to your favorite local independent bookstore, but don't just bring your book. Bring some swag. Give them a piece of the swag, the whole package deal. You can put it in some nice wrap. What is that? Filming wrap stuff. I don't know what it's called, but put a bow on it. Just be open to being innovative. Again, gift shops, hotels, local businesses will love it if they're going to make money off of not just your book, but you got swag. I do want to say that try not to be pushy about selling your book on swag. Try and make it about the story. Try and make it about the message. Try and make it about a quote or a character. You don't necessarily want to put a picture of one of the characters. Personally, I like to invent the characters as I read. So you might want to put a silhouette of a character, a particular character that's very popular. But don't just use swag to say, here's my book and here's the link to Amazon, go buy it. Be a little more subtle than that. Now, let's say you offer signed books. How many people offer signed books? How many people say, okay, on their website, for a signed book, do this? If you're not offering signed books, you need to start thinking about that, because people love signed books, and you can charge enough for the signed book to cover the shipping. They're getting something special when you send them a signed book. Now, when you send them the signed book, though, what if you did a whole package? What if you sent them several items like a pen or a notebook, a bracelet, a bookmark, some tea bags? Who doesn't like to drink tea when they're reading? Put together these package deals that you can send people when you're sending them a signed book, and they will remember you forever. Now, what else? Well, there we go. What else would Taylor Swift do? She built a team. It's very important that you have people helping you with your book. It's not a solo project. Over the past 2 years, Taylor has doled out $197 million in bonuses for everyone working on her tour That includes truck drivers, caterers, techies, lighting folk, sound production crew, hair and makeup, security, choreographers, the people who walk the dogs. I don't know. She's giving bonuses and she's recognizing the value of this team. She learned early on the power of having the right team, and she doesn't scrimp on what it takes to have that. I want to tell you a story from Reddit. I don't know how many of you are on Reddit. I would recommend that you join Reddit because there is a very huge group of writers on Reddit. I was reading on Reddit a week ago that a new author was ready to give up. He wrote, "I'm done. I've published my 4-book series, and over the last year, I have received nothing but crickets. I'm so depressed. I'm ready to give up. I don't know what I did wrong." The answers varied. There were a lot of folks encouraging him not to give up. But those answers were tempered with comments like this. "I read some of your first book. Perhaps you might go back and do more editing. I looked at your books and you might want to change your covers. I feel for you. It's so hard to get a break in this world, but don't give up. Pull your books down and rewrite them. Get a good editor to help you. Just don't give up." So everyone was very kind and respectful, and that's how Reddit is that I've experienced. But notice that all the replies said the author depended too much on himself. He didn't have a team. He didn't have a good editor. And when that happens, you risk enduring what this gentleman endured, being stuck in Amazon purgatory. In fact, some of the folks who wrote said that it was good he wasn't selling because his reviews might have been poor or bad. And that would have been even worse, right? So not listed on this slide are your media professional, whether that's PR or social media or both, your email marketer, which might just be you, and your website designer and writer. So designing and writing are two different things, but important parts of your site. And no, you might not be the best person for either one. Writing website content is different than writing a book. It's all about branding. Taylor Swift is a brand, a very big brand. If you aspire to success with your books on a level that can create a fan club, you need to think about your brand, which starts with you. So what else would Taylor Swift do? She would be wherever her readers are, even in the middle of a field with the steer or with the rabbits. You know, like Taylor Swift, you have to determine who your best readers are or might be, and then where they hang out. And then you need to be there. You need to be online on social media, but you need to do some of this in person. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is there's so much opportunity to do so much in person. Oh, the Swifties are online, but they're also in person. Taylor Swift is online, but she's also in person. You might not cause an earthquake the way Taylor Swift did at her Seattle 2024 concert, but you can create a movement if you put in the time and effort. And by the way, my friend Penny Sansevieri, who is a book marketer and has been for over 20 years, close to 25, I think, she says you can have as few as 25 superfans who make a huge difference to your success. And she's the one that recommends looking at gift shops, restaurants, and hotels as possible places to put your book. When Taylor Swift saw her Swifties becoming organized, she responded positively. And so you probably know how to find readers who might become superfans, but I'm going to offer some suggestions. And I'll go slowly here. Your beta readers. I don't know how many of you have beta readers. I recommend them. I recommend trying to get 30 because 30 will sign up, 20 will do it, and only 10 will actually complete what you want them to do. But these are people who have said yes to your ask, and they could be the beginning of your fan club. book-related groups on Facebook or LinkedIn, tools like bookclubs.com and Meetup to find book clubs in your genre and in your local maybe area, whether you're going to do this online or in person. Create Google alerts for your name and your book titles. Check Goodreads for reviews and comments. Ask outright to the people who follow you on your channels. Hey, I'm looking for 10 folks who like whatever genre you write in to have a conversation with. Do it in a video. Put it out there. Make sure you book, invite, typo, typo. All right, make sure your book invites them to connect by using QR codes to specific pages on your website. You can have them go to Amazon also, but I want you to have some that go to your website where you talk more about your background, about the experience of writing, and a little bit more about who you are. Add a reader's guide to the back of your book and invite them to email you any other questions they have. Start your own online book club and feature each one of the book clubs on your website. Create insider content about your books and invite fans to access it through a portal on your website. And the last one is a biggie and was not part of what I did at Women in Publishing. Use AI to research where folks who read your kind of book hang out. And here's the prompt that I'm going to give you to use. You are going to talk to the AI as if it were a real person. And you're going to say, you are a book marketing professional specializing in helping authors find and connect with readers, both those who are already reading the author's books and those who are fans of books in the same genre, unquote. Then, in the same prompt, you're going to say, I am the author of book title or working title, a book genre, whatever kind it is, how-to, memoir, whatever. My book describes the book's content, message, theme, main characters. You can be very detailed. Don't worry about writing too much. You can all, Chat GPT or whoever you're using, they like to have more, not less. My book describes the content, etc., and describe it in enough detail to help the AI identify ideal readers. And continue. Say, I want you to identify several potential marketing targets. Individuals who are influencers on social media for books like this, groups on social media platforms with large memberships that are focused on books like this and that show a lot of engagement, discussions, and recommendations, podcast hosts who review and or invite authors of books like this as guests, book clubs that meet online or in person and focus on books like this, upcoming virtual or in-person events for readers of books like this that I could attend or apply to speak at. And then you close with, please identify 5 answers to each of these marketing targets. Tom and I, my husband and I, recommend starting with 5. You can expand it if you want to later on. Also, please let me know what other information you may need to improve your results. We did this. We did this with one of our authors, and we got like 20 pages of really valuable content that we're going to be pursuing for marketing his book. Now, what would Brandon Sanderson do? I mentioned him early on. He's the sci-fi writer. He's the Taylor Swift of authors. If you visit his website, you'll see that he has a tab marked quiz. It's a page dedicated to the official Knights Radiant Order quiz to help him identify character traits that you, his fan, want for his knights. So you get to tell him what the knights should be like. maybe what they look like, how tall they are, how they talk. He also shares writing advice. And even if this is your first book, you have experience and novice does not. Yes, you can offer advice. I don't know how many of you are aware of Brandon Sanderson and his Kickstarter campaign a few years ago, where he hoped to raise $1 million and he ended up raising $41 million. And the campaign was created by his own publishing company, Dragonsteel Entertainment, to take back control of his work from the publisher because the publisher would not let him do what he wanted. And he wanted to offer his readers more options for buying his books. He continues to crowdfund, by the way, and he raised $16 million in 2024, which Publishers Weekly says was a crowdfunding record breaker. Why does he do it? He does it because it works, and it's another touch point he has with fans. So that's the end of what would Taylor Swift do and what would Brandon Sanderson do. And this is who we are, a husband and wife team. We've been doing this over 20 years, and we believe that good things come to those who write. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yay.
Yvonne, that was magnificent.
Thank you.
Bravo. So many gems. I was trying to type as fast as I could to get notes into the chat box. So I just want to remind everybody to save the chat. And if you would share your prompt with us, Yvonne, people would
Yes,
love
I will
that.
put together that prompt and send it to you, Kay. And
Okay.
I'm happy to also share the Taylor Swift book marketing ebook if anyone would like it. So I have a whole ebook about this.
Great, great. If you want to send links to me and maybe just some copy about that, I will send that out in the email that I send out afterward. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was really, really good. We have just a few minutes to open up the floor to Q&A. So if there are any questions for Yvonne, you can raise your hand, unmute yourself, put it in the chat box, however you want to ask your question. I want to, while you guys are thinking about your question, I want to give you a little backstory, Yvonne. In Lidditz, Pennsylvania, which is about 20 minutes from where I live in Pennsylvania when I'm not in Florida, in Lancaster, there's a company there called Rock Lidditz, and it was founded by the Clare brothers, Roy and Jean Clare. And that company is a tour company. They do the tours for people like Taylor Swift. They actually do Taylor Swift's tour.
Wow.
Around the world. They are so good in this tiny little town of Lidditz that they do 7 of the top 10 touring bands in the world.
Holy cow.
So they started out as engineers and got some lucky breaks. So Taylor Swift actually comes to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I know where she stays when she comes. Lady Gaga comes there. She was going to buy a house. The guy, remember Taylor McKinney that she was engaged to? Lady Gaga?
Yes.
He was from Lancaster.
Wow.
So we get Taylor sightings. Tay-Tay, everybody's watching out when she's in town. And so those drivers and those crew, they were all part of the bonuses that she gave. And the word on the street is that she is super nice. Now, I know there are other people who say she's not, but the people in Lancaster, the feedback is always that she is so nice and so kind. And so we love when she comes to town.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you hear, I just heard recently, I can't remember the name of the company, but Rock Lidditz is now becoming, they built this huge, big cube of a building which is where the rock stars come to do all of their practice for months and months and months in advance.
Wow.
And so in Lidditz, there's this whole growing community to serve all of these rock stars and all the people that they bring into town.
See,
It's
it's a
really,
big industry. It's a very
yeah,
big
it's a huge,
industry.
huge
And
industry.
like I said, the 197 million that she gives away, I'm sure there were a whole boatload of other people that didn't make, like when you look at the reports, and I was doing my research, I'm sure there are, like I said, little people who walk the dogs or take care of her
Right.
cats. If she brings her cats with her, I don't know if she does, but there are a lot of other people involved in those kinds of things
Mhm.
beyond just the production crew and all of that.
Right, right. And I've heard stories too where she hears about someone who's in need or she sees someone who's in need and she will
Yep.
share. And so she
Yeah, and I
actually, she grew up in Wyomissing, which is outside of Reading, which is also close to Lancaster. It's in Berks County. But so she knows that area well. And we have friends who are very good friends with her parents. And so it's just really cool to see her um, doing so well and also being very kind. Yeah, Margaret says she gives money for food to towns that she plays in.
yep.
San Jose got enough money to feed the homeless for 10 months.
Wow.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know
So,
we can't do that, but
right.
we can do other things. I mean, like I said in the presentation, it's about the brand, and the brand is you and what you're building and creating. Generally, for our purposes, Tom and I, we believe people should write more than one book. And
Yes.
it does set you up well at Amazon. If you write more than one book, Amazon prefers people who are coming back again, writing more and more books.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to start thinking about where where can I connect with the people instead of, it's not like it was, Kay, in the early or mid 20th century, where if you were not with a traditional publisher, you had to go to a vanity press
Right.
and you
Right.
went around with books in the trunk of your car. Today, we have so many opportunities. And because of those opportunities, all of the readers feel that they get to know you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, they feel that they get to follow you and ask questions and talk to you. And if you don't respond, then they stop following you and stop asking questions. And
Well,
they
and they also give you a bad reputation because in
possibly,
essence you deserve it.
which you don't want, right?
Yes. And of course, every princess needs a prince.
Oh,
And so, like Margaret said in the chat box, and now Travis is even giving more of his time and money to people who need things. And I
yeah.
love their love story. So we are at the top of the hour. I do want to take just a minute to do rapid recall, which is if you will put in the chat box your aha moment from today. One of the things that Yvonne talked about that you're going to put into implementation, for example, or something that really struck you, something that like, oh, I could do that. I could really do that. Put it in the chat if you want to raise your hand and share it. Maybe Sue, I can encourage you to share it out loud. And Chris, do you want to share one out loud? And then we will be finished.
Sure, I can definitely share mine. But it was something you said, Kay, actually. It was in your March musings.
Mhm.
And it had to do with spring cleaning and stopping the digital hoarding. Um, and also not looking at every new little thing as, every new thing is something you have to have. You have to decide if something's going to be a distraction or not. I thought that was really important.
Yeah, that's been very helpful for me to wrap my head around that. Thank you, Sue. Chris, can you share with us your aha moment? And you need to unmute yourself.
I'm looking to find an AI program to organize my digital collection that has multiple copies of the same thing.
Oh, multiple copies of my manuscript drive me crazy. Oh
But
my
my
goodness.
takeaway was the digital hoarding. That's an action item.
Yeah.
And Jack, you are unmuted. Do you want to share as well?
Well, there was a lot of things in today, and I'm grateful for it. But the making of the videos that we talked about,
Yes.
actually, I used to do that in my previous life, and it was just kind of like, wow. I mean, it was so easy for us to do it as a marketing tool. I mean, if I've done one, I've done dozens of them, and I never carried that over to here.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, videos are cool, and yet we have a lot of head trash about them. We have, tech issues. So Jeannie, I don't know if Jeannie had to leave. Is Jeannie still here? Are you still here, Jeannie? I think I saw that maybe she had to leave. Anyway, she mentioned something about doing a presentation on video. She is really good with that. So we'll get people in to do videos as well. One thing before I let you go. Next week, I believe it's next week. I'm going to retract that statement. Sorry. Because I do need to stop. I need to stop and check my schedule if it's next week or the week after. But we are going to start doing some practicing around being in front of the camera and messaging about our books and being prepared to do it at a moment's notice. So Kimberly Crow, who did the summit that I spoke at this weekend, she has a saying, when somebody hands you a mic, take it. So we are going to start practicing, just setting aside a little bit of time. First of all, we're going to do it in breakout rooms, and then we're going to do it in the whole group. Just being ready with your links to put in the chat, being ready with your name, the title of your book, and a very short, concise message that you want to share about your book. Something that makes people say, oh, I got to get that one. And we're going to work through that so that as we get closer to setting our summit date, for those who aren't aware, we are going to do a summit together. As we get closer and closer, we're going to have practice, and we are going to do a summit, the Bold Leaders Network Summit, and everybody will get their moment in the spotlight. And there's nothing like the hard glare of the spotlight to make all of those gaps in your speech evident. Everything that you're doing, if it's not clear, it shows up. No matter how often I do speaking engagements, I still get a little bit of that, 10 minutes before the lights go on. I'm like, whew, all right, I'm ready. Shake it off. Let's go. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me. Thank you for putting your insights into the chat. Remember to save the chat so you can have it. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow with Yvonne's information and also the links, and then also the link for the replay and a link for the chat, or attaching the chat as well. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Hi, Meek. How are you? I hope to see you next week.